After cheating on his fiancée with her, the younger son tried to marry her, but his family broke up with him. Now that he is by himself, he says we messed up his life. There's always been love in my family. My family includes my wife Sophia, F50, and our two boys Jared, M28, and Nathan, M25. I'm the man in the middle. My spouse and I have worked hard our whole lives to give our children a good home life and teach them what we thought were morals and good traits. There was something so evil and terrible that tore the family apart, and I can't help but wonder if our parents may have played a part in it. Jared and Nathan had a great relationship with her from the start. The relationship between the brothers was like any other, even though it wasn't always smooth. Each of them had their own family history, rivalries, and secrets. Sophia and I thought they were pretty strong. I thought Nathan's jealousy of Jared was just normal brother behavior, even though he did show it sometimes. My husband or wife agreed with me, and we hadn't really thought about it before. Nathan's feelings of not being good enough led to simple things like his happiness and short-term sadness when Jared was picked for his school football team. Sophia and I sat him down and told him that his brother would always be bigger than him, so he couldn't be expected to have his brother's skills. He wasn't mean or spiteful about any of this. He knew what we were going through, what they said. Also, my younger child wasn't always jealous of my bigger kid. There were other times when the opposite happened. For example, Jared was never very good at using women to make friends. In this way, he was a shy and nervous kid. Nathan, on the other hand, talked more. He would always get lucky with girls while Jared never did, which made Jared angry and left out. Then my spouse and I would go talk to him and guide him. My point is that my family was what I would call a normal one, even though we weren't perfect. We had our fair share of fights and rough days, but we worked them out. Most importantly, we were always there for each other, good times and bad. His behavior changed a lot after he went to college. Now that he was finally coming out of his shell, he started going to parties, partying, and being more friendly. Sophia and I were shocked by the change, but we were so happy for him. He met Haley, the woman who used to be his girlfriend, when they were both in college. People say he fell in love with her the moment he saw her, even though she was 2 years younger than him. But I do know that he brought her into the family around the 2-year mark, when Haley was 22 and he was 20. I don't know how they met or how they became related. Sophia and I both thought she was a nice girl. Jared seemed happy with her, and the two of them had a good time. They looked good together. Late that same day, Jared came back to me and told me she was the love of his life. He was sure that she was the woman he would marry. Not only did I tell him I liked Haley, I also told him I was happy for him. But as a dad, I would have told him to wait a little while longer before asking, and not to rush things. He asked me what I thought. I told him that their views and thoughts might change as they get older. Because of this, it was very important for him to be sure that they were truly matched and not just in love. We ran into Haley a few more times over the next year and a half. At this point, Nathan wasn't at home. Both of my boys were in college at that point, but in different states. Nathan did not meet Haley because he was not able to be there at that time. Things started going wrong for Jared and Haley after 9 months. Not that he would talk about it with us, but he stopped bringing her over and always looked worried. He would only say that they were having a hard time whenever we asked him what was going on. Not saying anything made him feel safe, and my husband and I knew not to push him to say something he didn't want to. After a few months, we found out that Jared and Haley were no longer together. Sophia and I went to see him a lot for a while to help him deal with his grief because he was so upset. He had a hard time getting over her because she was his first girlfriend. We asked him many times about the reason for the breakup, but he never answered. His breakup with her after a little over 4 years took him at least a year to get over. We're happy that he's now dating Miriam, F26, and that he seems happy and at ease with her. Nathan, on the other hand, had a number of friendships and relationships. Because he wasn't reliable or honest enough, he never promised to really put us in touch with someone. We chose to let him be because he was an adult, and we thought he knew what he was doing. But we didn't know that Jared had been being careful to stay away from Nathan since he broke up with Haley. I can see what was going on now, but we didn't think about it at the time. We thought it was just a mistake. Jared cut down on his time at home and stopped going to family events. We never put any pressure on him because he was shy and didn't like these get-togethers very much. He used to send us plane tickets and set up ways for us to get to where he was, but he stopped coming home. This kept going. Sophia and I had no idea that there was something seriously wrong with our boy. I told him several times that he was supposed to show up, but he always found a reason not to and said it was because of how busy his schedule was. However, Nathan's behaviors didn't change. He came back home a lot, but we never did. The idea that his relationship with Jared was difficult. Nathan told us some news not long ago that made everything clear. He said he wanted to introduce us to someone and hoped Sophia and I would be willing to let him. We were both very excited because this was the first time he did this for his lover. We were thrilled to see her, but when I found out who she was, I felt like someone had ripped out my voice cords. I didn't know what to say at all. He told us that he was going to marry Haley and that he was going to give us to her when he got home with Haley. I think Sophia and I looked at them both for at least a few minutes without stopping. I could tell by the look on his face that he was taking it very seriously, but part of me laughed and thought it was funny. Some fancy trick they were playing on us. The first thing that came to my mind was whether Jared knew or not. Nathan said that Jared had known about this for a while and was fine with it, but Haley seemed very uncomfortable. Being able to tell you so much about my boys, I knew that Jared would never agree with this. Nathan knew I didn't believe what he was saying, so I told him to stop lying. He got mad at us and said we were favoritism and not thinking about what was best for him. He said that Sophia and I can't look Haley in the eye because we were so in love with her when she was dating Jared, even if they are still the same person. He said he thought we would thank him, but we didn't even get his point, let alone give him praise. He said that even though we agreed with Jared's relationship, we were still. He showed him he had two sets of rules by responding so strongly to it. I told him that I thought what he was doing was wrong and couldn't be defended. When I turned around to look back, Sophia wasn't there to help me. After 5 minutes, she went back downstairs, got all of Nathan's important papers, and threw them in his face, telling him not to look at her ever again. He told us that even though he had come to ask us to his wedding, we didn't deserve an offer. I told them that going to that kind of wedding would be one of my biggest fears. I was glad that he was taking back his offer because we had no plans to go. I couldn't help but look shocked behind him as he ran out the door with Haley and Sophia. Sophia called Jared before I could figure out what had happened. He told her that they broke up because Haley cheated on him with Nathan when she asked him about it. His words showed that at first, he only knew she had cheated on him with someone else and not with Nathan. They did everything they could, but Jared said the event was still bothering him, and he decided he didn't want to spend the rest of his life feeling this way. He asked her over and over again to tell him who the affair partner was, but she wouldn't. They broke up because Jared was feeling too stressed out to keep going with their relationship. About 2 months after they broke up, he found out that his girlfriend had cheated on him with his own brother. By that time, she was dating Nathan. When I asked him if he had ever talked about this with Nathan, he said yes. He asked him why he had done that and said that even though Haley wasn't related to him, he still thought she would be able to pull off something like that, but never Nathan. When Nathan was asked what he thought, all he could say was that everyone acts badly when they're in love. Since then, the brothers haven't talked to each other. He told me it was a personal problem for him, and he didn't think it would have been right to include us when I asked him why he never told us. He also said he didn't want us to have bad feelings about him. Hearing him say he had to be the bigger guy even though he had been hurt broke my heart. I told him I felt bad that I wasn't a better mom and that I hadn't looked into the long-standing gap between him and Nathan. Sophia and I still can't believe Nathan and Haley came to visit us 3 days ago. We had already decided not to go to the wedding. I let her know that Nathan and Haley were dead to me and that I didn't want anything to do with them. Sophia and I agree that this is the right thing to do, but Jared said, "We shouldn't let this hurt our friendship with Nathan. My parents called me yesterday. They were born and raised in the South. Also, even though we don't meet very often, we are close. When both of my kids were born, they gave me money that was supposed to be used for college. That made me sad because I thought it was my job as a parent to take care of them, save money for them, and work to make money for them. The boys borrowed money from me and then got partial scholarships, so the money my parents gave them is still with them. When they turned 21, their father gave them each a certain amount of money and told them they could spend it however they thought was best. It looks like Nathan planned to use this money to pay for his wedding to Haley. My dad called me to make fun of the fact that we were going to the wedding. Nathan had told Dad that we weren't helping which made Dad very angry. He was almost screaming during the exchange. He told me over and over that he had taught me not to leave my own kid behind, especially on the most important day of his life. In his words, Haley was a pretty girl, and I should listen to my son and stop making a big deal out of nothing. He seemed very angry, and I was about to lose it too. Even though he kept talking, I realized he didn't fully understand Jared. After what had happened, it was hard for me to believe he would now back Nathan and Haley. Haley and Nathan are having trouble. Of course, how could he? Jared hadn't told anyone in his family about it, and Nathan wasn't the only one. Being honest and open about it is kind. As I put the phone on mute, I asked Sophia if we should tell him the truth or just leave it alone. Sophia told Jared that he had to know, or else everyone would blame us and Jared for leaving our family, even though Jared was the one who was wrong. After Dad was done yelling, it was important for me that he was willing to listen to what I had to say. Finally, I told him that Nathan wasn't with us when we met Jared's girlfriend Haley. After that, they talked about the problems they were having in their relationship. Lastly, they talked about the breakup. When Jared was asked what was going on with Nathan and Haley's proposal, we told him what he had told us. We told him everything we knew. At first, he didn't believe us and thought we were biased and making up a story to protect ourselves. He asked us to make sure that this whole idea was correct for him. Sophia took out her phone and said she was sure she had a picture from one of our meetings. She sent it to Dad after she found it. He only let out a heavy sigh into the phone, told us he would get back to us, and then stayed quiet. Sophia got a call this morning from her father. From what she told me, their whole talk doesn't look good for him. Dad got in touch with Nathan and Haley after. Yesterday I talked to him to make sure what we were saying was true. Nathan tried to lie to make himself look better, but his dad caught him. After that, he told Nathan that he would not be getting any money from the fund that was set up for him. Nathan sobbed into the phone and begged his grandpa to change his mind, but he wouldn't. He said that he would not pay for a union based on betrayal within the family. Nathan then told his father outburst that on his 21st birthday, his father had told him he could spend the money however he liked, which was exactly what he planned to do. He said it was totally unfair that he wasn't getting the money, even though he had been promised it 4 years ago. To get my dad to give him the money, he tried to trick him, telling him that he had the right to the money and that he would not keep his promise if he didn't give it to him. The trouble with my dad is that he's always been a pretty grumpy person. Because of who he is and how old he is, he just doesn't have the energy to deal with drama and crap. Nathan may have been whining the whole time he was calling to try to scare my dad into giving him the money. He thought it was enough though. Dad told him that because he was so arrogant and didn't want to change, he thought at first that he wouldn't give him the money for the wedding and would instead give it to him to use later. He was set on not giving him the money at all. He also said that this is now going to Jared, adding fuel to the fire with money. I think Nathan knew at that point that he had dug his own grave. He started to say sorry, saying that he had said those things out of anger, but it was too late. Dad wouldn't give up, and I'm sure Nathan will never see a dime of that money in his whole life. To put it simply, Dad called Sophia to tell her what had been going on and to thank us for being honest with him. He said that he would have died of guilt if he had given Nathan the money, and this way, paid for the wedding, so that the public would know who Nathan and Haley really are. He also told us that he planned to tell how the family got connected in the first place. Sophia was a little scared about the idea because she thought Jared might not agree with it. She told him that he was done with all this muck and dirt, and that making him go through it again would hurt him. But Dad said he had already talked to Jared, who told him it was okay for the family to know, and that he should trust his own judgment. Dad is sure he'll blow this up, and he just wanted to know if we were having any trouble. Since Nathan wasn't with us anymore, Sophia told him that she didn't mind what he did. But she said she would talk to me about it and let him know what I thought. It was my promise to her that I was happy with Dad's choice. This may seem like a small thing, but I've always thought stealing was gross. When I found out that my own child had an affair with his brother's girlfriend, I lost all respect and love for Nathan. I can't help but think that anything could have caused him to become this way. There was something wrong with the way we raised him. I really hope that this didn't happen. But I know that I should put Jared's needs first right now and not worry about how the family looks. The worst thing that could happen is that other people will hold Nathan responsible for what he did, and I think he should be shamed and avoided. There is no way for him to be saved. What he did is terrible and cannot be forgiven. If Jared is okay with it, I'm not going to say no. I'm scared of what will happen to him, because I know this will all turn into a big family problem. Nothing I would do would help me get out of this mess, but I have no choice. First update: Dad sent a message to all of us. This is a copy of the whole message. As an adult, I've always liked my grandkids and tried to be fair. I don't think I was a very involved grandfather, but Judith and I have always tried to give them the most love and care we could. We gave Jared, Nathan, Bianca, Roxana, and Tyler money that they could spend however they liked. On the other hand, they asked for this with the implication that none of them could use the money for bad things. I gave Nathan this money for their wedding because I thought Haley was a beautiful girl when Judith and I met her. I was happy to make their good life even better. You can imagine how shocked I was when I found out a few days ago that Haley was actually Jared's ex-girlfriend, and that the reason she dated Nathan was because she cheated on Jared. At first, I thought this information was too unbelievable to be true. However, that is exactly what happened, which makes me sad. I am now taking back my offer to pay for the wedding. So far, I have no claim on that amount. It's up to me to do whatever I want with it. You should also know that I can't picture being in a relationship that is so immoral, so I won't be going to the wedding. I had to give them this information in case Nathan and Haley tried to discredit me or question my standards and beliefs. What you do with this information is now up to you. This message has been sent to everyone we think is close to us. You know what? I don't care if Nathan and Haley know what happened. I don't think he has also messaged them. My sister called me right after getting the text message and asked what was going on. I told her that Sophia and I were shocked, just like everyone else, when we found out a few days ago. And it makes sense that she is mad at Nathan. She has also said she won't be at the wedding. When I told her that Sophia and I would not be going to the wedding either, she let out a sigh of relief. She thought that maybe she and I were okay with this, or willing to put up with Nathan just to show that we were. I let her know that we had stopped talking to him and were no longer in touch with him. The woman asked me if I knew if Nathan had gotten this text message. Also, I told her I didn't know and wasn't really interested. I don't know if this text message got to anyone else, and I have no idea how Nathan will pay for his wedding. I only know that I could have taken better care of him, and if he made this choice on his own, he is not one of my kids. Change: my name is Judith, and these are my sister's kids. They are Bianca, Roxana, and Tyler. Second change: there will be no wedding. Nathan came home exactly 10 days after my dad texted. He broke down in tears in front of us and told us that we were making him so sad. Everyone who would have been benefiting, including some extended family members, chose not to go to the wedding. Haley couldn't handle the stress of being called names and being put down. She called off the wedding and stopped texting or calling him. I wasn't trying to comfort him or feel sorry for him. I really didn't know how to get him to stop crying and leave the house. I'm glad I didn't, because I found out that Haley had told her family a completely different story of what took place. She said that she had broken up with Jared a year before the event, and that he knew about her relationship with Nathan and agreed to it. The people in her family believed what she said, but when they found out the truth about their relationship, everyone was shocked at her. She has been rejected by her family and not been accepted by her parents. She is said to be pretty close with both her friends and her family, but they have stopped talking to her. Jared told me that her friends got along well with him. They were together a lot. Also, Haley's friends thought that Jared and Haley had decided to break up in a friendly way. Still, her friends haven't been with her since her dad texted her. Nathan is mad at us while she is sad and by herself. He says that we hurt his life and that we didn't have the right to be too involved in it. People they used to be close to no longer care about or feel sorry for him or Haley. As much as it would make him feel better to blame us, I told him that the truth was that he dug his own grave when he decided to date his brother's woman. Sophia wouldn't let him act like we were in love with each other. She was mean to him and called him the only one at fault, calling him a nasty person and saying she couldn't believe her son had turned into such a bad person. Once more, I tried to ask him why, since he knew everything about Haley and Jared, he chose to pursue her. He said he didn't know how to solve the problem, and that Jared was the one who had been angry for too long. He also said that similar things happen to adults as well. He could only say that he was sorry that we had broken up his brother's marriage when I asked him if he was sorry for breaking his brother's heart. That's when I knew he had no chance. He wouldn't change his mind, no matter how much we talked or tried to understand him. I told him that from now on, my house would not be available to him. He could leave and do what he wanted, but I didn't want him in my life anymore after what he did. He thought it was funny how obvious it was that we loved Jared more than he did. I told him that we had always treated them both the same, but he is crazy to think that we are favoring one over the other. I told him that we are not on Jared's side but for what is right. Also, the fact that he can't see that what he did is wrong doesn't make it right. It was clear he didn't care about what I had to say. He walked away with a long, angry look. After what happened last night, he stopped Sophia and me from going anywhere. While I'm not denying that losing my family and seeing it fall apart hurts, I also feel helpless because I know there is nothing I can do to fix things. Update 3. It's been a month since the wedding was called off. She was brave to try to get back together with Jared after she broke up with Nathan. She called him to say she was sorry for what she had done and asked if he would give her another chance. After that, Jared told us she could try to come see us and took away her phone. Thank goodness, none of those things have happened. Nathan still thinks that he is not talking to anyone, or rather, that no one is talking to him. He also thinks that he has not done anything wrong. It scares me that we don't know where he is, so I don't think I should reach out. Unfortunately, that's just how things are right now. Since everyone is used to it, I think it will stay this way going forward too. I didn't think something like this would happen to my family, but it looks like fate had other plans. I can only do what I think is right.